Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to you. And welcome back to the Insurance Pilot, where we're going to try to make you an insurance buying expert in 5 to 10 minutes a week. What I want to talk about tonight, very briefly, first of all, apologies for being late. We had an opportunity to go eat dinner tonight up in Chipley with one of the founders of our agency. And if you ever get the chance to go to Chipley and get home cooked food, it's something you're not going to want to miss, and it was definitely worth being an hour or so late for this. So again, my apologies, but I hope we can still give you some good information. I want to talk tonight about college. It's that time of year. We're shipping everybody off to their various schools all over the world. I'm lucky enough to have both of my girls leaving. I've got one headed off to her junior year at UF, and I've got another one that's going to be a freshman at UWF. And there's considerations for those two girls that you or one of your friends or associates may share. The first thing is their stuff and their liability as well. Everybody is going to probably live in a dorm or an apartment, most likely. And frankly, you got a bunch of stuff that's going with them that's not going to be in your house anymore, and it may or may not be insured properly. There's a couple ways you can do things. Some coverage will automatically extend from your current homeowner's policy to a dorm, an apartment, something like that. And fortunately, for most kids, you take some milk crates and, to make a bookshelf, and you have a bunch of clothes and maybe a couple of pots or pans, but the value of the stuff you take with you generally is pretty modest. So generally, the coverage that it will extend is often enough. You need to call your agent and ask that particular question. In addition, your liability coverage will also probably extend as long as they're with you. As long as they're dependent upon you. However, I'd like for you to consider using this opportunity to do some adulting with your now not so small child anymore, and get them a renter's policy. It's called an HO4 policy, and it's just like anybody else would get if they were renting an apartment. It can be challenging sometimes because some insurance companies don't like to write dorms or college-based apartments because there's a lot of shenanigans that go on. It will surprise some of you to know that not all college kids routinely make great decisions. Occasionally they do make mistakes. But what I would suggest to you is if you can get a renter's policy, I would get it from your agent so you have control and you have a relationship already. It's very, very inexpensive. You're probably looking to maybe $100 to $150 a year. And what it will do for you is a couple things. Number one is it will cover the stuff for your student going away, and it will do it in their name, which is very important. You can kind of get them started on the path and help them to understand that that's part of the budget they need to build in. It would cover damage or theft of their things while they're at their new location, even temporarily. And the other thing it would cover is their liability. Again, knowing that college students do tend to do some stupid things every once in a while, the question becomes then, would you rather have that be on them and their insurance policy, or you and your insurance policy, and have a claim that could affect your insurance portfolio, which probably has an awful lot more to go in. You've got a lot more things to insure if you're a parent. So while you can extend your current coverage, first of all, if you're going to do it that way, you need to assure yourself by talking to your agent that coverage does extend appropriately, both on the property and on the liability side. But again, I would encourage you to talk to your agent, and if you can, to go ahead and get an HO4 renter's policy for them. The second thing I want to tell you, or I want to mention to you, is your auto insurance is going to be affected a little bit, but this could be in a good way. Everybody knows when you add teenage kids to your policy, it kind of gets ugly. Your premiums go through the roof. Everybody wants to know how to avoid that. Well, if you have a kid away at college, you tend to be able to get credit for that because the underwriter will know they don't have constant access to all of your vehicles. So that's very important. So what you can do is call your agent, let them know that your student will be away at college, get some credits there. If they have good grades, you want to continue to provide grade updates to your agent or to your underwriter so they can continue to give you a good student discount. And the other thing that you'll need to provide to them is a new garaging address, whether it's somewhere like hopefully near Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, or in my case, somewhere at West Florida or down in Gainesville. You need to give a new garaging address because that's how that car is now going to be rated. But again, it usually works to your advantage because even if they're going to a bigger city, now absent somewhere crazy like LA, DC, a really big city where car theft is a big problem, usually your premium is going to go down just a little bit. So that's something very much should be into your consideration. And you don't need to reduce your limits. Again, going back to the idea that not all college students make great decisions, this is not a time to try to save money to pay tuition by reducing the limits of insurance on your policy. And finally, I wanted to mention to you, a lot of kids I note, they get scooters when they're away. And I'm not talking about the little scooters, I'm talking about sort of the moped, two-wheel variety. These can be dangerous instrumentalities, and I don't want to get into that. I personally, I have a feeling that it's just generally not the best idea, but that's a parental decision that you have to make in league with your student, in league with your child. But what I will say is, they may not be covered by either your home or your auto policy. It's a possibility they might be covered by both. A lot of it depends on the language in your specific policy and whether that thing is licensed for road use. Chances are, if you have a moped or a motorcycle, something like that, that has a tag on it, well, chances are it's going to be covered by your auto insurance policy. But if that's the case, it needs to go on your auto insurance policy. This can be a problem if you're renting things short term. There's an awful lot of things that are available. You can rent mopeds or scooters by the semester or even by the day at some colleges. And so you need to be sure that something like that's going to be appropriately covered under your auto insurance policy, because if your kid is not paying attention and they're driving to that early morning 7:30 chem class and they mow somebody down, that could be a real problem for you. You need to make very sure that your coverage extends or that you get another policy that's appropriate to that risk. So as your kid goes away to college, you're going to have a lot on your mind, a lot of things going on, a lot of things to move, a lot of considerations. Everybody's going to be worried. I get that, but while that's certainly true, don't forget insurance. That's one thing you need to take care of, either right before you leave or as soon as you get back from dropping them off. I hope you and your students have a great year. Just don't forget to get proper coverage. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday.